But let's talk about Jayden Daniels, all right? So, how do you feel Jayden Daniels as an NFL scout is going to translate to the league? Because it seems like you believe he has a high ceiling, but the floor is incredibly low too.
Hmm. Yeah, so this is like I was just, getting at again. It's like the variation in the 2022 tape and the 2023 tape is just so far. Like, I mean, y'all, in 2022, Malik Neighbors, the super talented wide receiver that everybody loves and some people think is better than Marvin Harrison Jr., was literally putting his hands on his helmet because Jayden Daniels was missing him wide open after he just cooked a defensive back. Like, this is the type of player that you're potentially getting. Like, the variance of the play. And even this year, even during his Heisman Trophy season, there were times where he just flat out missed guys over the middle in the intermediate part of the field. Just flat out missed. Throw behind. Like, not like behind like this, I'm a football here. Just convenient. Ball like this, like you're out here trying to catch a pass. You get what I'm saying? Like, back to the Chris Sims point quickly. It's amazing how he labeled Drake Maye as a talented project. When in all honesty, that's really Jayden Daniels to a certain extent. He's more of a talented project than Drake Maye is because you could easily look at Drake Maye's tape and say, "Dang dog, you really got to stop turn the ball over. You really got to start playing so reckless, and more importantly, you really got to be accurate with your throws." But Drake Maye is literally just as athletic as Jayden Daniels. He might not have the blazing speed, but Drake Maye is easily just as capable of
Baby Josh
getting
Allen.
6 yards. Yeah, that's my comp. My comp for Drake Maye is a blend of Justin Herbert and Josh Allen because he has that rare talent to just make a play out of chaos, but he also has that unspeakable talent to make a shit show out of nothing. So that's what it is for me with Jayden Daniels. It's like out of all the quarterbacks, his floor is so low that I don't mind if the Minnesota Vikings trade up for Jayden Daniels, but I do want to just caution Minnesota fans and don't get so engrossed in what Dan Orlovsky's
Even
or
Commanders fans, if taking them over Drake Maye
yeah,
too.
yeah, like again, it's all about how these teams see these players. But I gotta be honest, if the Commanders took Drake Maye, or not Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels over Drake Maye as a Cowboy fan, I'd be like, yes, I'd be happy. I'd be happy because I would be dealing with a quarterback who wasn't as much of a threat compared to like a Drake Maye. Like I might sound like I'm being harsh, but I'm really being honest based on what I've seen on his tape and trusting my evaluation on him. Like, it's not to say that he can't be any better than what he is right now. It's not to say that he can't become an NFL star, but it is just a fair warning. Like, this player has a very low floor. And when it comes to drafting low floor players with very high potential, you always have to be cautious because at the end of the day, you really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you know what they say, like drafting quarterbacks in the first round in general is a risky business. They got a really low hit rate. So if you're a team like the Commanders or Minnesota, you trade up and you put yourself in position to get one, it's like you definitely want to make sure you make the right decision. Me, I like Jayden Daniels. I'm a lot higher on him than you. I think he has a pretty good arm. He throws with pretty good velocity. He definitely has improved tremendously, and going to a team like Minnesota with an offensive minded coach definitely would do him a lot of justice. Going to New England, I would have concerns about because Gerard Mayo, defensive minded coach, and we don't really know how their staff looks. You know, like when CJ Stroud got taken by the Texans, you had a little bit of reinsurance that at worst he'll be okay because with can't think of D'Amico Ryans bringing in Bobby Slowick from Kyle Shanahan and he follows him to Houston. You know that in that 49er system, he was going to be decent at worst, but he just ended up being miraculously good. And you think of Jayden Daniels, I don't see him as somebody who can come in and have immediate success right away. I definitely think that there will be a lot of growing pains for a guy like Jayden Daniels, but he does have the ability to run around, extend plays, pick up a lot of yards on the ground. And there were times when he flat out was just carrying LSU's ground game. 200-yard performances against Ole Miss, Florida. Really spectacular to watch. But I do think that the floor with him is fairly low, as it is with a lot of these quarterbacks who get these Lamar Jackson comparisons. Everybody keeps comparing Jayden Daniels to Lamar, and I really think that that's doing a lot of detriment to him because the expectations are going to be so high. Like, I stopped giving Lamar Jackson comps once Malik Willis flamed out as quick as he did, because Lamar Jackson is just such a unicorn. And I don't think a lot of people realize how rare it is to find somebody like Lamar. Jayden Daniels to get compared to Lamar, that's high praise, and I think that it's a little bit too high of a praise. I think that for Jayden Daniels, his rookie season, he'll run around a lot. He'll probably definitely get over 1,000 yards. And if he goes to the Commanders, they do got a pretty set situation with Cliff Kingsbury. He does fit, what Cliff wants out of, his quarterback, dual threat, can run, can also throw as well. But if the Raiders were to trade up for him, though, because him and Antonio Pierce do have a lot of chemistry dating back to their time at Arizona State, is he somebody who you could see being more of a guy who you rather sit year one, or a guy who you start year one, let him go through the growing pains?
So I learned last year from my Anthony Richardson takes, you can't just come out and say someone needs to sit based on college tape, because a lot of these players unfortunately come from really, really bad schemes or don't have the lack of talent. I think Jayden Daniels could be a solid rookie quarterback next year. I also think if you did have a situation where you could sit him for you, he could even be better as a second year quarterback. But I think whoever drafts him, I think they're gonna play him year one, just because of the just raw athleticism and raw throwing ability. Like, I know I talked a lot about Jayden Daniels' weaknesses, but now I'm gonna talk about some of his strengths, just to show I'm not hating on him. He really thrives the deep ball, JT. Like, he he throws not only with anticipation, but really great touch downfield. And that's so tough for such a young player. Like, throwing with touch is something that even some of the best quarterbacks in football at times struggle with. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's really tough. So for Jayden Daniels, it's almost like you have to consider that this is a player that is so raw. But at the end of the day, some of these players, they're going to, develop at a quicker or slower rate. We had the discourse with CJ Stroud and Justin Fields, right? You said, oh, CJ Stroud did it. Why didn't Justin Fields do it? Well, CJ Stroud is obviously, a very much more, higher IQ, I guess, player than Justin Fields. And you can say the same thing for, you know, I guess I'm just gonna say I'm just for this scenario, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. Caleb Williams is probably gonna develop way faster than Jayden Daniels because of his IQ and everything. So yeah, that's where I'm at on Jayden Daniels as far as him being, a starter or being like having a city year. I think it just depends on who drafts him and what their quarterback situation looks like.